Awesome. Hello, everyone. So, welcome to our another session of our Instagram live series. Today, we are going to be specially celebrating World Water Day. I know World Water Day was celebrated on the 22nd, and we have our very special guest today, and it's going to be our Champlain College Principal, Tina Fridgen. So, I'm going to be taking a minute to quickly invite her to join our conversation for today. Okay. So I'm going to invite our college principal real quick right now. And if you have any questions throughout our live, definitely do shoot us a message. Hi, Tina. I see that you have joined our live. I have just sent you a request. Awesome. Hello, Tina. Welcome to our Instagram live. And to begin with, I'm gonna kickstart our Instagram live by first saying that happy World Water Day to everybody. World Water Day is actually celebrated on the 22nd of March, 2021. And what is World Water Day? So it's basically a day where it's all about what water means to people and its true value and how we can better project that vital resource. And we all know that in Trent University, the Autonomy River literally flows within the heart of our university, and there's a lot of strong impact about this water that's being flowing in our university. So I wanted to take a minute to learn more about the water that's around us. So here we are. I invited our principal Tina Fridgen to join us for this discussion. So just a little bit of information about our college principal here. Tina has spent 15 years researching the impacts of pesticides and nanoparticles on our environment, and with a special focus on how they impact local frog production. So I can notice that you have a lot of connection with water. So to begin with, Tina, we're going to have a few back and forth questions, but my first question for you would be, what does water mean to you?
That's great. Thanks so much, Joanne, for inviting me. This is wonderful. Initially, we were hoping to get some other water scientists on camera, but I'm really happy to represent. So what does water mean to me? Pretty much everything, Joanne. So not only to me academically, it means life. I mean, this water on Earth started in our waters. I mean, life on Earth, sorry, started in our waters. And it wasn't until like 400 million years ago that animals and plants started to come out of the water and radiate over our Earth. So really everything starts in water. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Life started out as single-celled organisms, and water is needed for all of the nutrients to flow to the different parts of the cell. When you talk about multicellular organisms, that's water allows for communication between cells. It allows for the nutrients to get in and waste to be excreted out. It allows for organisms to move as a motion. So there's a lot of important, it is also the base of all of our enzymatic reactions. So really water is the basis of life. To me personally though, I mean, I grew up on the Ottawa River, where the Ottawa River meets the Madawaska River, and that's near Ottawa. It's a small town called Arnprior. And so, water plays a strong role in my life. It helps me calm. Doesn't it help you? Like just taking a moment to look out over the water is a great opportunity for reflection, for taking in our Mother Nature. And that's why, let's be honest, that's why I chose Trent. I mean, the water body flowing through our campus is one of the reasons why I'm still here today.
Awesome. That's such a beautiful answer. And I can personally relate to, because where I'm coming from, I live next to the beach. And every morning I wake up with the beach as my view. And I love it as well. To me, water is happiness. And it also means freedom. And when you said, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm at Trent University, not gonna lie, I would completely relate with that statement, because my first reason for choosing Trent is I was in love with the way the university was flowing right underneath the Fridgen Bridge. and it's that beautiful wind gushing over you and that summer heat. So, wonderful answer, and I totally agree. Now, moving on to our second question for today. I hear that you're an aquatic toxicologist. Wow, that as a business student, it seems so interesting to me. But could you give us a description of how this role looks like and its relation to water as well?
Aquatic toxicology is a really broad field because really what it means it's just about the study of our man-made contaminants and maybe some other types of natural contaminants that wouldn't be in that type of abundance getting into our water system. So really the job of an aquatic toxicologist is looking at what are the impacts of those abnormal chemicals impacts on all of the life. So it can be all the way down from the single-celled organisms like I was talking about. It can be the impacts on wildlife. I studied, as you mentioned, frogs in our region. And then you can also look at the impacts of these contaminants on an ecological scale. So really big picture.
Wow.
And it all back to how it impacts humans. I mean, really that is why this research gets funded, is because our water is so important for even our own human life that understanding this dynamic is imperative for us to continue on living on this planet.
I feel like water is really an essence of life
Mm-hmm.
to every living organism with the way that you've been talking about it, but that sounds really amazing. So our third question for today
Mm-hmm.
is, we are celebrating World Water Day. I believe we're also celebrating the significance of our beautiful Autonomy River that flows right into the heart of our university. So is there anything we can learn from the Autonomy River or even its ecological value at Trent?
Yeah, I mean, the Autonomy River is obviously plays a strong role on our campus. It provides us also with electricity on campus. So we actually have electrical hydro dams that are providing us with energy here on campus.
I did
Uh,
not.
yeah, and the Autonomy River is also really important for the Peterborough region because it's that connected lift locks that you've seen along the river. It allows for large transportation of boats and of goods from all the way, I think, from Lake Ontario to, I should know the other location, but I don't right now. But it for long distances is the point, and to bring a lot of things inland. And so unfortunately, though, our waterway that goes through the beautiful campus, while it has a lot of wildlife can take advantage of that waterway, it isn't very natural. So because it is strongly controlled with these lift locks, and then there's also hydro dams all along it, it's very regulated. So this can have a lot of negative impacts for wildlife. But again, it can also provide some temporary habitat for some wildlife. So if you're lucky and you're able to go for a bike ride down the river and go to Lakefield, sometimes you'll see swans. We just had some swans visiting at the end of winter.
Wow,
Uh,
beautiful.
there's usually you can see some bald eagles have like collected some carp because we have a lot of carp in our Autonomy River. We have a lot of great species of, again, turtles, but because it's dammed, it's not really the safest environment for them. So hopefully they stay in more the habitats that are off of the river. Like there's a lot of wetlands that are connected to our Autonomy River that they can have habitat for, and then of course all the different frog species around.
So, from what you have told me, I think it's kind of saddening to see that because some of the water bodies are kind of controlled, it could impact wildlife, especially next to the lift lock where the water is constantly controlled in order to let boats pass by. Sometimes frogs could get stuck in one of those still water zones, so it's quite a tragedy in that perspective, but I can see that the river really plays a lot of role in trade and wildlife and totally the complete scenic view of our university as well. So thank you for that. Okay, on to our fourth question for today. Do you think, are there like any dangers that the Earth's water bodies are currently facing that we need to be aware of? That's a goodness.
really big question. Actually, there's so many. I'm just going to touch on a few of them, I think, right now. I mean, we already talked about damming of water bodies and regulating flow. That really is important for people to understand the damage that can cause. Because sometimes we think that getting hydroelectricity can be really an environmental option in comparison to coal. And of course, there are benefits of it, but really, hydro damming can really influence the nutrition cycle of a normal body of water and all the species that live in it. So just something to give some warning. But that said, that's just one of many, many unfortunate hazards to our water system. So I studied at Trent with Dr. Michael Barrell, and Michael wrote a book called The Plundered Seas. And there have been many, many, many books that have been dedicated to all of the different challenges that our oceans and rivers face right now. Some of those challenges are, pollution in itself. So as a toxicologist, I used to look at the effects of contaminants on our wildlife. So a lot of different contaminants that are found in our water is, we have pesticides, nanoparticles are really scary because nanoparticles, we don't really understand fully how they will ever leave our systems. We have different types of plastics, you've been hearing about and seeing a lot of videos, but plastic staying in water. So we have pollution of water bodies. We also have a big challenge with keeping our water bodies, especially wetlands are often destroyed and filled in for development. So we have to be really careful there. I think at this point we only have, 90% of our wetlands have already been destroyed in the Ontario region. So trying to keep those, trying to keep them away from development should be our top priority. Then we also have ocean. A lot of challenges with our oceans with the warming waters. Obviously, we have we have a lot of climate change challenges that are going to be happening with our oceans, affecting our currents, but also the warming of our oceans affecting coral reefs, obviously, and a lot of habitat for our fish breeding. So really, our water is so essential to life, and yet somehow we really get the protection that it needs. So I'm glad that we're talking about this today. This should be a part of our priorities.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even the impact of water bodies is not just related to one particular country. It is a global scale impact. But as long as we are slowly trying to make some type of effort in water bodies, it really does count in the long run. So in terms of, apart from the environment, how do you think water is important for our physical health?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about that at the beginning when I was talking about why it's essential for life. So, you are made of 90% water right now, or just bags of water walking around. And because what that does is it gives our cells the ability to actually function. So without water in our system, our cells would not be able to communicate with each other. And you need to understand that when our cells are communicating with each other, it's really small amounts of chemicals that are flowing throughout our system to allow them to do that. And so when we do experience things like contaminants in our environment, the chemicals that are found in water that maybe we're drinking, maybe we have there's a lot of pharmaceuticals or contaminants that pass through pass into our drinking water, actually. And when we put that into our body, it could actually influence how our body is communicating, because it could interfere with the natural communications system that's happening in our bodies. But then that's called endocrine disruption. But water is really important to life. It's so important to life that, I teach the herpetology course. And what I love about the herpetology course is it teaches you just how important water is for the evolution of animals onto land, and the ways that animals dealt with keeping that water. So, you have your frogs, they still lay their eggs in water, but then you have your reptiles that actually developed this kind of portable pond by creating an egg. And then you have your mammals that bring the water in your body with you everywhere, and then your offspring are raised inside you. And that's just how important water is to life. We could not live anywhere without it.
Well, I wouldn't have heard a better answer because you touched upon the whole universe. Thank you for that. I know growing up, my parents have always told me, like, you need to drink 8 glasses of water. You always drink 8 glasses of water. Do you think it's a myth?
That's a funny question.
Oh, Mom.
I don't think I've addressed that since I was helping with the water festival, the Children's Water Festival in Peterborough. The 8 glasses of water thing. I mean, it's important to drink water, obviously. Yeah. But I have to tell you, I've always been known to be a bit of a camel. If I get busy in my day and if I don't have my water bottle in front of me, I can forget to drink water. That's really hard on your kidneys and your physiology. So you do need water, but there's a lot of water in your food. Like if you're having a big, bowl of soup, do you need to have a big glass of water with that? Depends. How salty is your soup? So, I mean, I don't think that there's an answer to that question, but I think you should be cognizant that, sometimes when we feel hungry, we really just need a glass of water.
Awesome. I'm going to make sure I send this video to my that it's okay. You don't have to take class. Yeah. But thank you for really touching up on that really silly question. What can we as students do to protect and respect our water resources? And especially, this is a very important question, being a Trent student, some tips that we can also respect our Autonomy River as well.
Absolutely. Not just the Autonomy River, but the whole watershed. So I think students have already done just a really great job over the past few years fighting for the health and maintenance of our wetlands. Other things that we can do on the side, though, is when we are purchasing things, to be cognizant about what we're purchasing. And does that, what is the life cycle of our products? So when we talk about pollution in our waters, really, we're talking about anything. A lot of things will end up in our ocean. So when you think, whenever you're purchasing something, does it degrade on its own, or is it something plastic, like a plastic bottle that's going to end up in the oceans? And then once it ends up in the oceans, what is it going to turn into? It's eventually just going to break down into smaller and smaller and smaller particles. So, I personally try to make small decisions each day. It doesn't seem like it'll make that it'll have a lot of impact, but if we all make those small choices each day, it will make a difference. So, don't buy your plastic bags, bring your reusable bags, reusable water bottles, trying to bring reusable containers wherever you go. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great products right now. Right. Joanne, like the world is at our fingertips. This is an exciting time to be alive. As stressful as it can be, like this, there's a lot of looming environmental, stress that we're living at threat. Our forests are at threat. This could be a really time to invoke anxiety, or we can look at it as no, we can take control and we can make it.
Sorry, folks. It looks like Tina's having a little bit of a Wi-Fi connection issue, but we're just going to give her a minute to join us back. Okay. Oh no. So unfortunately, there has been a Wi-Fi connection issue. Oh, Tina, I see you in our comment section. It's okay. We can still try to go live with you one more time and see if it still works. And you're back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Sorry, it just kicked me out. I live in the country. It's bad Wi-Fi. We were just about done. So anyway, the reality is we were just about done the conversation. This is a great time. You have a lot of control to make choices through your buying options. Like this is, something can only be popular and be passed if the public buys into it. So if you buy into the fact that our waters are more important, then and you want to look into some environmentally friendly solutions, please do it. I mean, they're endless out there. I could go on forever about it.
Right. And even as a student, I strongly believe that just taking up very little actions, you might not really see the impact, but in the long run, and even in a global perspective, it's going to bring up some change. For example, the only two actions that I always make sure to do is that do not, litter on our Autonomy River. I do.
Oh, goodness.
Like, I do see sometimes waste that's been collected in our Autonomy River, and it's quite disrespectful. Like, it's the beauty and essence of our university. So that's one first thing that we as students could start on and begin with. And of course, like you said, technology is at its finest, and even those reusable straws, reusable cups, and even Trent as a whole take the initiative to like really have a recycled and strong environment. Oh, one of our comments goes like, love you guys, we love you too.
Thanks, Farwa.
But thank you so much, Tina, for like really giving us a lot of information on water and what water means to us.
Does anyone have any questions?
I really, yeah.
I wonder if anyone wants to ask a question.
Any questions regarding water? We have an aquatic toxicologist in town here.
I can share one product that I've purchased lately that has just changed my life. I'm trying to think of what they're called though. It's True Earth, and it's a laundry detergent. And instead of having a big, large laundry detergent bottle that's really heavy and hard to carry home even when you're doing your groceries, you can just True Earth is a Canadian company. It's one of the fastest growing companies that have happened in the last 2 years. And it's because they've created a way to just mail you your laundry detergent in this little cardboard packages. They're just little strips that you put into your laundry, no water to be shipped around. So there's less pollution, anyway, it's wow. I love them. Yep.
Is it called True
Earth? Yep.
Hey.
It's just an example of a product that is A, environmentally friendly for adding to your laundry, and B, it's like soap sheets. That's what Farwa said. Yeah. And it's amazing. And you don't have to lug it around. So you don't have to worry about spilling it anywhere. And then plus, there's no giant plastic bottle waste.
That's amazing.
These are just examples.
Wow. I just looked up True Earth, and they also have free delivery. So I would say it's a great catch. I'm just going to flip my camera to show. So I'm guessing that is the product that we're talking about.
Look at us. We're doing product reviews.
Right? Anything for World Water Day.
I get a check from them later. I'm just joking. Anyway, it's just showing you that your buying power can do a lot. But also, like you said, please do not throw the Champlain Quad can get really littered with a lot of, I know right now there was plastic bottles out in the kale field, and a lot of people, we shouldn't have this conversation about water without talking about right now the shoreline is being restored. So there's been a lot of damage on our shoreline, and Autonomy Regional Conservation Authority and Orca and Parks Canada are helping Trent to restore our shoreline. So we've just had to take down a whole bunch of trees, which means that if there is any waste in our quad or in our fields, it's going to blow into the water really easily. So this is the time where we focus really hard on making sure that our garbage goes into the garbage cans.
I'm so glad you brought it up. And there you go, students. That's one big activity that we can really focus on for this month that celebrates World Water Day. But with that being said, Tina, I think we're done with our conversation. Last notes for our viewers.
Nice to see you, Joanne. Thanks for inviting me.
Nice to see you too, Tina. Thank you for joining us.
Take care. Bye.
That being said, bye everybody, and happy World Water Day.
Cheers. Bye.